Good morning, everybody. This is Mrs. Muller. I wanted to do a lesson today that is fun, yes, number one, and it's endless. You can do it 100 times in different ways. And so let's get started. Let me start off by saying how much I miss all of you and how excited I am to be able to do some distance learning art lessons with you. I hope that you are having some fun and able to follow along. You can always pause and do what you need to do to catch up to me and then press play and continue. So if you have difficulty or you need a few minutes to do what the instructions are, then go ahead and do that. But today we're going to be learning about tessellations. It is a word that exists both in art and in math. This is something that you would learn about in 5th grade when you're talking about math and repeated shapes. So let's talk about tessellations. And let me show you what tessellations are. Tessellations are a special kind of design. They're made from different patterns of repeating shapes. Shapes that make up a tessellation are called polygons. I'm sure you've heard of that word before. But polygons are closed shapes that have 3 or more sides. A square or a rectangle is an example of a polygon. A triangle is an example of a polygon, and an octagon is an example of a polygon. Polygons that are the exact same size, 2 of them side by side, are called congruent. They're exactly the same size, exactly the same shape. So here are some examples. In tessellation designs, congruent polygons fit together like puzzle pieces, like this. There are no gaps, there are no changes, no overlapping. The shape is the same, but you can see that these 3 triangles are exactly the same, and these are exactly the same shape. They're just flipped upside down. These are all congruent. This is 4 squares in a row. They're all exactly the same, so these are congruent. These 3 octagons are congruent. So it's easy to make your own tessellations. But I want to show you some examples of some tessellations in this book. Whoops, sorry about that. All right, so there are some tessellations on this page. The ceiling tiles are tessellations. The floor tiles are tessellations. And also, these 3 designs on the background walls are tessellations. A shape repeats over and over and over again, and it has a congruent polygon that fits with it is called a tessellation. So let's look. Here are some examples. Here are some more examples. This was the ceiling tile and this was the floor in this picture. You can see them. This is the ceiling and this is the floor. Okay. This is simple. 2 rectangles that are exactly the same and can fit together perfectly. They have congruent sides. There's no gaps or overlaps. These are both congruent. The triangle here is just flipped around so that they fit together perfectly. That is an example of a tessellation. Here are puzzle pieces. As long as they fit together, they're congruent, just like that. Okay? These are pictures made by using an index card, and I'm going to show you that. You can also use just a piece of paper if you don't have any index cards. But here's an example of beautiful tessellation. This looks like a ceramic tile wall or something. So you see that even our showers have congruent polygons. Those squares in some people's shower, those are tessellations as well. Okay, even quilts show tessellations. The same design again and again, fitting together. Okay, so let's look at, where is it? This page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab an index card and I'm going to draw a design. If I can find my pencil. I don't know what I did with it. It's here somewhere. I guess I'll use a Sharpie. Okay, so I'm going to take this index card And I'm going to make just a random shape. And what you're going to do is cut out this shape with scissors. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it should go from corner into the index card to the other corner. Okay, so now here is my piece that I cut away. What I'm going to do is take this piece. Let me move this over to the middle. I'm going to take this piece that used to be right in there and tape it in a new place. I'm going to take it around the index card to the other end and tape it right on the end of the index card. Okay, so now you can see that this point here will fit comfortably right in here. Okay, but to make it more interesting, I'm also going to cut some sort of shape out here. So I'm going to cut out the shape from the top, and don't mess up this whole area. You want to cut it very cleanly and neatly. Okay, so now I have this shape that used to fit comfortably right in there, and I'm going to take it out, slide it around to this side, and tape it. You might need to use a few pieces of tape to make it stick real good. Maybe I'll do it on the back as well, just to make sure it stays put. You're going to need this as a template, so you may want to reinforce by putting tape on both sides. All right, now this is where you need a piece of paper, because we are going to repeat our design using our fresh tessellation, our new tessellation. Let me move some of my stuff out of the way. Far too many things in the way. Okay. I still can't find my pencil. I wonder where it went. All right, so let's see if I can locate another pencil somewhere. All right. So what I'm going to do is just start my design anywhere on the paper. Hopefully it'll be, oh, this isn't sharpened. Hopefully it'll be real straight. So I'm going to trace. In this part, you need to use some skill. Take your time. Again, you want to stay on the template as best you can. Nobody's perfect, but try, okay? I hope everybody's working really hard to get their homework done and to keep busy, keep learning. Being at home sometimes feels like a vacation, but it really isn't. Not under these circumstances. Okay, so here's my first tessellation. What I'm going to do is slide this over and make it fit perfectly within itself. And I'm going to keep tracing. Trace what you can fit onto the paper. Whatever you can't fit onto the paper, just don't trace there. Just let it hang off like I didn't trace past this. Now I'm going to slide it down. You see how it's the tessellation. It's repeated shapes over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. And you're just going to keep sliding it over. So I want to make sure it's in there evenly. There's a very famous artist named M.C. Escher who did beautiful tessellations, and I'll show you those tomorrow. Okay, slide. Don't forget the bottom. Slide. It fits in like a puzzle. Okay, after you get it all traced, then we'll talk about MC Escher tomorrow, and we'll start creating some designs inside of these tessellations so that they look like something. Right now they're just blank. They don't really look like anything, but if we use our imagination, we should be able to come up with something. Slide that over, almost done. If you have a larger piece of paper, then of course you can do a lot more. I think I'll head to the school today and pick up some supplies so that I can do some larger pictures with you, and maybe some construction paper. Okay, so after you get it traced, tomorrow we're going to talk about the artist MC Escher and look at some of his tessellations, and we can start converting this simple tessellation into something, and we'll repeat the design in every shape. And you can vary your colors after that, but the design itself has to be exactly the same. Okay? So this is part 1 of this lesson. I hope that you're able to do this by following my directions. Remember, you're going to, on your index card, you're going to create a shape on the end here. It can be any shape you like. Doesn't have to be the kind that I did. It can be, as long as it goes from corner into the index card and then back to the corner. So you could do something like this and then cut this. Remember, one more time, cut it out cleanly. Take your time. If you struggle with cutting just a tiny bit, take your time. There's no reason for you to rush or race. I want this to come out really successfully, and so you need to take your time. You can't rush and be like, oh, I want to get this done first. There's no ribbon for that. So just take your time. So this fits comfortably right inside of there. You're going to take this shape out, go all the way to the other end, and tape it in place. Again, as I said, your tessellation can be different every time you make one. That's the fun about it. As long as you're following these directions, you can do 100 of these. Okay, so there's the first part. Then you're going to make a design on the top part. It can be anything you want. Okay, so I'm going to cut this cleanly with my scissors without disturbing what I've taped already. This one's a little more complicated than the one I just did a minute ago. But that's okay. As long as you take your time and follow these directions, you should get a successful tessellation. Okay, so now this fits comfortably in here where it belonged before. I'm going to take it out and bring it all the way around to the other side and try to line it up so that it fits in the same spot the best I can. Okay? As long as you're following these directions, you should end up with a successful tessellation. Now that one's interesting. I wonder what that could be. All right. So make your tessellation, lay it in the middle of your paper and start tracing it until the paper is filled even to the edges with your design. Okay? Then put it aside and please wait for tomorrow's lesson because I really want to continue on with this particular lesson. Sometimes it takes 2 steps, but I know the second step is going to be a lot more interesting, but I really want you to try to make an interesting tessellation. You can do it a few times until you get one you like. I just did 2 and I like both of them. So it's interesting. I wonder what they're going to be tomorrow. All right, folks. I miss y'all and I hope you miss me too. I will catch you tomorrow when we start part 2 of this lesson. Love you both. Bye.